Welcome to the Coaches Show. I'm here with head coach and athletic director of Dublin High School, Roger Holmes. Coach, it's been an unprecedented week. I thought we were going to come in and show highlights from the Northeast game. Hurricane Helene came through and packed a powerful punch in our community here. Former board member, classmate, and Dublin historian let us know last night that the winds on top of the old Hicks building were at like 109.4 miles an hour, which is 2 miles an hour short of a Cat 3 hurricane. Scott Thompson, former board member here and does a lot for our community and feeds us a lot of information. I mean, that's historic. It's unprecedented. It reminds me of the times a few years ago back during our COVID times when we were dealing with lots of loss of life. And we're kind of in that same situation again now where we're dealing with loss of property. There's probably 80% of the city of Dublin that was without power, still is without power. You're trying to get a bunch of high school teenagers prepared to play the game of football. So what has this done with your family, your coaches' families, your children, and your practice schedule and that kind of thing?
You're right. It was a devastating situation. Know everybody had hoped for the best, try to prepare for the worst. You know, their decision was made on, I guess it was Wednesday of last week, through the Bibb County school system to go ahead and cancel anything for Thursday and Friday. We were kind of hoping, let's wait and see Friday morning what the results were of the storm, because you never know what direction it's going to take. And credit to the guys at 13 WMAZ.
Right.
As far as our area, they were right on. You know, I watched it a couple of days early, and they showed the eye of the storm coming right over Dublin. The other people were projecting it to be more to the west. And then obviously after it cleared through the Dublin area, it was going to go through Atlanta and up toward Nashville. And so we thought we could wait till Friday morning, maybe see where everybody was.
The possibility at that time.
If it dodged us, if it turned more back toward Alabama or whatever, there was a chance. But so anyway, after discussions with between superintendents of the school systems, we had an alternative, like everybody else in our region, with possibly playing on Saturday, or moving the game to a Friday night, which was October the 11th. Everybody in our region had an open date that week. Neither school felt like trying to push it back to Wednesday night was favorable in preparation or arrangements or anything else. So
wouldn't have been.
We made the decision between myself and the coach at Northeast, we'll push it to October the 11th. It keeps it on a Friday night.
Right.
That's great for your crowds and your people because, again, a football team it's like a business. You know, all of your other sports are also dependent upon the gate receipts that come in at football games. You move one to a Wednesday night, you can guarantee you're eliminating 40 to 50% of your gate receipts.
Right.
Now everybody suffers from that. If you pushed it to a Saturday, now again you're limiting the people that are going to attend the game, especially knowing that Georgia and Alabama were playing that night.
That would have been a mess.
So we chose to keep it on a Friday night and just move it 2 weeks down the road. And from that standpoint, that's turned out to be the best thing. Now,
well, you're affecting, you know, with both those scenarios, you're affecting a lot of people with church-related activities on a Wednesday night, and then you're affecting a lot of people with college football activities on a Saturday afternoon, which, you know.
But after the storm went through, then the realization was here of how hard our community was hit and what what this meant.
Nobody expected it.
I haven't talked with anyone who's hasn't been affected as a family in some way from this. I've got coaches who live in Sandersville. Sandersville was ravaged. They didn't have internet. They did not have power. Some places, obviously, still here in Lawrence County, they don't have it and may not have it for a week and a half out on the south ends of our county. It's devastating, and I know most people are aware of that by this time.
But it affects our kids and their families, and the kids trying to get to school and the kids trying to practice football. I mean, can they get here? Or are you going to have everybody to play? I mean, there's a lot.
And we thought as quick as we could get back to some form of normalcy in those kids' everyday lives, the better off we would be. Our plans are, we feel like we're going to be able to play at home this coming Friday against Ace Charter. It will still be our homecoming. The people that are working on the power lines, God bless them. They deserve all the thanks in the world for their commitment to their job and what they're doing. I understand people, patience wear thin in a situation
and there has
where
been
we
a lot
are
of
right
that.
now. But it's kind of like being a coach. You're not going to win them all. You're darn sure going to try to win them all.
Right.
But you're going to lose one every once in a while. And if you do, get ready. There's going to be people that are calling for your head and they're unhappy with the way things have gone. But, I tip my hat to all you have to do is drive down any street in Dublin and you're seeing trees down and power lines down. But we were able to get back to practice on Monday.
And I know you. You're a creature of habit.
Yeah.
You like to show up at work every day at the same time. You like to practice football every day at the same time. All that's out the window now. You're having to practice at different times. You're having to get kids here at different times. You're having to probably go pick them up in buses and get them here.
Yeah, we run a bus route. We reached out to every one of our kids that were on our team. There were 6 or 7 that weren't able to get here on Monday for whatever reasons, and that's fine because you don't know everybody's hardships and their situations right now. We'll work through this, but we were able to get our players in, do our normal weightlifting. Then we went and watched our film. We went on the field and practiced, and then again, and I go to the booster club and I said, hey, do you think we can have something for these kids to eat before we take them home? And we noticed yesterday our kids haven't been hydrating well. You could see that. I talked to 2 or 3 of them, and I had one of my players on my team tell me, he said, Coach, I hadn't eaten anything but cereal since Friday night when the storm hit. And so being able to get them here, Booster Club fed everybody,
That's awesome.
got the grill out there and fired it up. And
Alton
fed all our
Culver,
kids
Lisa
before they went
Daniel,
home.
Kirk Hartwell, and those guys who've done a tremendous job for you
the
this
tailgate
year.
king, Ron Pierce, got over here, and then, we're practicing again today. They're going to do the same thing today. But we're able to, I've got a couple of coaches that take the buses and go out and pick up the kids that need a way to get here. And it's just great for them to get out. If you're one of these fans or people that are kind of stuck in your home and there's no electricity and no power, and you go back and you see this at some point somewhere, you're going to think about how miserable you were. So
That's right, exactly right.
Getting them away from it, at least for a few hours of the day, is good. And hopefully we're going to get back to school here pretty quick and, and be ready to hit this homecoming game Friday night. And, what a great way for people to get away and leave some of that behind them than to get out and see a good high school football game.
Right. Coach, I think it'd probably be a good time to take a break and have a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back and talk with some more Dublin football.
It's football season, and just like your favorite team, Dublin Chevy GMC Nissan's success is built on our teamwork.
Ms. Johnson, I have got you scheduled for service at Dublin Chevrolet.
Hey Dave, I think I found the problem.
I might not have been a great ball player back in the day, but one thing about it, Don sells cars pretty good. here at Dublin Chevy GMC Nissan.
Optum Health System's commitment to you has not changed. Unmatched safety and compassionate care. If you've delayed your care, we want to reassure you we're prepared for you. Optum's commitment to safe, high-quality care is stronger than ever.
It is almost hunting season, and that means it's time for you to already be shopping with Roach Farm and Garden. Everything you need for your feed plots, everything you need for your deer stands, everything you need, period, for the fall, you can get at Roach Farm and Garden. Salt licks, camo, trail cams, everything you need. Go check them out at Roach Farm and Garden at the River Bridge. Support your friends at Roach Farm and Garden as they support the Dublin Fighting Irish and our local community. Go Irish, and go to Roach Farm and Garden.
When you're part of a team, your loyalty is to each other, working together for the customer. Customer satisfaction is not a sometime thing, it's an all-time thing.
Turn it up, let's go, yes, sir.
You don't service vehicles right once in a while, you service them right all the time. So let's get out there and get these customers rolling. We love helping our customers as much as we love football. So let us be your team, Bubba's Tire Center.
All right, Coach, we're back. Let's talk about kind of what's going on with GHSA and some of the decisions that they've had to make this week and those kind of things that are behind the scenes that most folks don't know about.
Yeah, when we look into what's going on with the GHSA, I mean, I know I got a phone call from Tim Scott on Sunday, I think it was, just checking, wanting to know what I had heard going on with schools down in this area, and people had been contacting him and just checking on us, make sure we were okay and those type things. And in that conversation, you know, we got to talking about people having to make up all these games. Because, for example, Jefferson County's coach had already reached out to me wanting a number to get a hold of the people at Central Macon. Jefferson County on Saturday last week are already canceling this coming Friday's football game, and they'd already had to cancel the one with Bleckley County the previous week, and didn't know when they're going to make them up. Well, through experience of knowing how this thing went down with COVID, Georgia High School was going to require you to have a minimum of 3 days in between playing games.
We played how many? We played
4 in 15 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was...
So what you got to come down to, and this is where Mr. Scott and I started talking, who was the principal here at one time. He's now the director of the GHSA. And I said, Tim, what's going to happen? He'd gotten a call from the people in Fitzgerald. They weren't having school for 2 weeks. Augusta was shut down for all week. Gwinnett County was shutting down for the full week. Listening to Coach Vandegrift down in Montgomery County, where they are, it's destroyed. Tift County, Valdosta. Yeah. And you say, okay, well, that might be 20 schools that have a problem. Remember what we said in the first segment. If you have to start moving games around so people can get 3 games in, then you're moving a game from a normal Friday night where the gates are expected to Thursday. Then you're going to have to turn around the next week and play on a Tuesday. Then you're going to have to play the next week on a Saturday. And it's not just the schools that had the hardest conflicts. It also starts affecting and forcing
all the others.
Everybody else to bounce their games around. Therefore, you're losing an enormous amount of your gate receipts from home games, which is not only affecting the football programs, but all of your programs.
Well, it drives all the other programs.
And what had
Everybody knows
happened
that.
this year was GHSA had put in an open date week on Thanksgiving Friday night.
Right.
And during the playoffs. And that all came about as to when the season normally starts, when the season ends, and when can you play in the Georgia Dome. Or the Mercedes-Benz.
Right.
When is it available to host the state championships? Well, because of that, they made that Friday night, that week, an open date week in the playoffs.
Of Thanksgiving.
So the logical thing is is to close up that date, push the playoffs back a week, and put an additional week in at the end of the season.
Right.
Now, anybody that loses a game this week, they have a place to put it.
Now we're there.
And it's still on Friday nights, and you're not affecting every other school because of that one school's hardship of having to move it around. Now, we're filming this obviously on Tuesday morning.
Right.
They're saying by noon today, GHSA should have an answer as to how they're going to proceed with that. I anticipate that's probably what they're going to do. And if that's the case, and again, it looks like, and you have to look at competitive balance. You know, you don't want one school playing 4 games in 15 days, and the region championship is decided on a team that got really 2 days of practice at the end of a 3-game cycle.
That's not
some
fair.
of that. So that seems to be the most logical way to go about this. And all it means is, let's say we were already able to reschedule ours for the October the 11th with Northeast because we both had an open date there. Other schools don't have these open dates to put them. Well, all they would do is if they miss a game this week, it goes into that open date. If Dublin is finished, then we have an open date that week before you go to the playoffs. Well, is that an advantage? No. Not in single A, double A, and triple A, because everything is based off of those power rankings. And until every game is played, your opponent's winning percentage, your opponent's winning percentages, all that is a factor. So, you know, we may end up with an open date going into the playoffs, but we're not going to get 2 weeks to prepare for who we're going to play because you're not going to have any idea.
You're not going to know who it is.
You're going to play.
Potentially,
so
right.
Hopefully that'll be the way it goes.
Right. Well, hopefully you'll get that call from GHSA today, and we'll know everything. You know, like I say, we're in unprecedented times. It's a hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait, hurry up and wait every time you have one of these type situations. So, you know, we'll get it worked out, and you know, things will happen for the best. I think it'd probably be a good time to take a break, have a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back and we'll talk about what's coming up with Ace Charter Coach.
Yes, sir.
It's football season, and just like your favorite team, Dublin Chevy GMC Nissan's success is built on our teamwork.
Ms. Johnson, I have got you scheduled for service at Dublin Chevrolet.
Hey, Dave, I think I found the problem.
I might not have been a great ball player back in the day, but one thing about it, Don sells cars pretty good here at Dublin Chevy GMC Nissan.
Optum Health System's commitment to you has not changed. Unmatched safety and compassionate care. If you've delayed your care, we want to reassure you we're prepared for you. Optum's commitment to safe, high-quality care is stronger than ever.
It is almost hunting season, and that means it's time for you to already be shopping with Roach Farm and Garden. Everything you need for your feed plots, everything you need for your deer stands, everything you need, period, for the fall, you can get at Roach Farm and Garden. Salt licks, camo, trail cams, everything you need. Go check them out at Roach Farm and Garden at the River Bridge. Support your friends at Roach Farm and Garden as they support the Dublin Fighting Irish and our local community. Go Irish, and go to Roach Farm and Garden.
When you're part of a team, your loyalty is to each other, working together for the customer. Customer satisfaction is not a sometime thing, it's an all-time thing.
Turn it up, let's go! Yes, sir!
You don't service vehicles right once in a while, you service them right all the time. So let's get out there and get these customers rolling. We love helping our customers as much as we love football. So let us be your team, Bubba's Tire Center.
Woo!
And we're back, Coach. We'll talk straight football now.
Oh, that's good.
We'll talk straight popping pads and that kind of thing. Like I said, I was really hoping we could come in and see some Northeast highlights today. You prepared a solid week for those guys. Now you're turning around pretty much. Kids out of school on a short week. I'll call it, because kids are out of school. You're getting them into practice at different times, but you're facing an ACE charter team. Coach Hatcher, quarterbacks, I believe his son possibly.
I think it's his son, yes.
I think so. Kids really got an arm on him. They've been scoring a lot of points. A really, really fine football team. I think Northeast might have jumped on them a little bit a week ago, but we've got a lot to prepare for coming into this Shamrock Bowl on a homecoming night.
Well, number one, when you watch those young men play the game of football, you can tell how well coached they are. Now, you mentioned the Hatcher name. Hatcher name is synonymous with making football. The dad, Edgar Hatcher, is a Hall of Fame coach in the state of Georgia. The brother Chris, or cousin, I think, to Keith, the head coach there. He was played at Mountain Sales, had a great career, went on to Valdosta State, won the Highland or Harlem Award, whatever, equivalent to the Heisman Trophy winner in Division II, Harlan something
Award.
Trophy it's called. And but he was great. Now he's a college head coach, and Keith is the head coach there at ACE Charter. You know, it's a unique situation. It's very much like a private school. However, there's no tuition. They're able to get kids from all around, and they do a really good job. Offensively, I've told our players it is probably without question the top passing executed system that we might see.
That's what I'm hearing.
You know, they throw the ball around. They know what they want to do against certain types of coverages. You know, their execution to that has been very, very good. Their run game has been sound, certainly all the way up to this point. Defensively, they base out of a 4-3, but they're moving people and slanting people and stunting people and creating a lot of issues for you. And then, you know, I told our kids again this week, too, that I think based on the kicker's ability, their execution, their coverage lanes, all those types of things, it's probably the best football team we've played to this point as far as execution of every phase in the kicking game. So it's I don't know who scheduled them for homecoming, but
a lot to be concerned about, sounds like.
It probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world, and you know, they're good people there. Their kids are going to come and compete. They travel well. I think we can expect a good crowd in the Shamrock Bowl on Friday night, and we'll just have to see whether we can put all the other distractions aside and do what we do, and that's play good, hard, physical football and not make many mental mistakes.
How have your kids responded to practicing this week at different times? Have they shown up? Have they fought? Have they
I mean, I'm
competed in practice?
You know, day one coming back, you could tell they were a little sluggish. They hadn't done anything probably but lay in a dark house with no air conditioning or anything else for 3 or 4 days. And, you know, we were a little sluggish, but I think they were happy to be back. And we're getting good preparation. We still got a couple of issues. We finally got power back on in the stadium. We've got a goal post that's got to get leveled back out.
Right behind us.
That we had some issues with the wind, but we feel like that's not going to be an issue. So, you know, people talk about all the time, you know, the expense of putting turf in, so on and so forth. Well, if you look out there, the field practice days with rain, any of those types of things, we've been, knock on wood, our football team, every scheduled practice we've had this year, we've been able to do it outside. Well, it might be raining, but as long as it's not lightning,
we can practice on this field.
We can practice on the turf and not tear up your investments that you've made and the time and effort that you put on those practice fields. Well, I think
Friday night it's going to be the Shamrock Bowl is going to be dressed up. It's going to be beautiful for homecoming. What we want is for everybody in Dublin, Georgia, to let's put this power outage behind us. Come out. We're going to have plenty of power. We're going to have a lot going on here at the stadium. We want to invite everybody to come out to the Shamrock Bowl for homecoming. If you were a former student here or whatever, come see homecoming.
I I like the way you think.
And let's pack the bowl for the Dublin Fighting Irish Friday night to come here. It's should be a great game. The weather's supposed to be nice, and you know, the touchdown club will be open over here with the tailgating and cooking and everything. Big Ron will have all that going. You know, be a lot going on. We just want to give everybody the opportunity to come out and get something else off their mind and come enjoy a sporting activity, you know, for a Friday night. Come support your Dublin Irish.
Thanks, buddy.
We'll be back with highlights from the Ace Charter game next week.